Well, I'm just going to give a little background here before Cheryl takes it away. Cheryl's a very funny lady, but she has an amazing brain for research. So in 2015, 14, 15, Cheryl has always had an interest in the Adventist health message. And she's always had her nose to the, her ear to the rail, so to speak, and her nose to the grindstone. And I finally said, Cheryl, why don't you just write an article? We would love it if you would do that. Well, she wasn't sure, but she agreed to, and she started researching the history and the connections of the Adventist health message. And I have to tell you that while she was writing it, Cheryl she almost died, is what happened. She had a kidney stone, and she became septic, and she was in the hospital. She did not know how sick she was. She was so sick she was almost delirious. And I know the Stevensons and we went and visited her several times, and she said to me just today, she was wondering why we were coming to see her. She said, I didn't know. I was so sick until later. So that was right in the middle of this, and yet, when she got out of the hospital, she said, I know that magazine's coming out, I've got to finish it, and she finished it, and it was right before an FAF weekend. So this research always is in my mind linked with, she almost died while she did it. So, Cheryl.
Carolyn. Yes, this is a very long article.
I'm going to pass it out to everybody.
Okay. This is a very, very long article.
Oh, I'm not, they are.
Okay. So if you read the whole thing, you get a reward. I don't know what that is.
Piece of beef.
Veggie steak. It has 98 footnotes because I was very concerned that anybody who was still Adventist or just newly coming out would think I had made this stuff up. And I was very concerned about it
Yeah.
being accurate.
Right.
So, disclaimer, nobody is saying that eating healthy is bad, okay? It's not bad, but that's not what this is about. The way we ate is not. The reason given for the way we ate was health, and still is. But if you dig a little bit under, you find out some interesting things. So I cannot go through everything in this article, but I'll hit a few things. Okay, you guys are going to be helping me to begin with. We're going to do a little quiz and a few true or false questions, just to refresh your memory, see what you think, okay? Okay, true or false? Were the locusts that John the Baptist ate carob pods or beans? The beans in the pods. I see somebody's head shaking now. Who think they were carob pods?
True or false? They were carob pods.
Carob pods, not carob pods.
Okay.
I was told true.
Okay, you were told true. How many say true?
Or used to.
Wow. How many used to
You
believe
guys are
true?
doing good. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
At the risk of seeming a tad silly, I asked our pastor what the original word for locust was
He happens to be, proficient in Greek.
in Greek. And he just brought me a book and showed me right there the word in Greek is grasshopper.
So there you have it.
Yeah. Okay. Is the word scallop spelled with a K?
Let's say it as a statement. The word
Okay.
scallops is spelled with a K. True or false? Okay, all those who say true,
True in an Adventist bookstore and the food section of the Adventist bookstore.
okay,
Yeah.
false. Well, all right.
Dick's thinking, what is this? I was like 45 before I found out that scallops has a C in it.
Because they're really, truly sea creatures.
We have veggie scallops, and they're spelled S-K-A-L-L-O-P-S. Okay, does tea produce?
Tea
Tea
produces.
produces intoxication. True or false? That's an easy one.
Okay, false, raise your hands. True, true, raise your hands. You're just feeling too frisky because you're done.
Okay. Well, according to Ellen in the Ministry of Healing, it really does produce intoxication.
Did you know that?
Yes. So don't drive a car after a tea party. Okay. Daniel was a lifelong vegetarian. True, false?
False, raise hands. Let's take a count.
Okay.
Daniel, true, raise your hands.
Can someone read Daniel 10, 2 and 3? Anybody have a Bible?
Okay,
Oh,
you know what?
Colleen's
I'll do
gonna-
it just because of the microphone.
oh, sorry.
Daniel 10.
2 and 3.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, here we go.
This actually was a new one on me.
Yeah.
didn't know this.
In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning for 3 weeks. I ate no delicacies, no meat or wine entered my mouth, nor did I anoint myself at all for the full 3 weeks. On the 24th day of the first month, and then he tells about his vision.
So,
What does that say? He abstained from meat and wine for how long?
3 weeks.
3 weeks while he was mourning.
Were completed.
Yes.
And the implication is he went back to them.
yeah. He couldn't abstain from them if he hadn't been using them.
Okay,
Sorry.
sorry.
I don't know where to talk.
It's okay. You're doing
Okay.
fine.
All right. And then, this isn't going to be a true or false, because you guys know this, but Ellen says that Adam's main sin in the garden was one of appetite. What do you think? She says, and this is in Counsels on Health, Ellen G. White further says, Adam fell by the indulgence of appetite. In order to impress upon man his obligations to obey the law of God, Christ began his work of redemption by reforming the physical habits of man. And she says he did that when he was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days.
I remember when I first heard in a women's Bible study leaders meeting years
For
ago
6
now,
weeks.
that Jesus in the garden completed what Israel as a nation had failed to do. That was a brand new thought to me. I remember going back out into the Bible study room and saying to the woman next to me, Jesus was completing Israel's work in the garden. He was the perfect Israel. This wasn't anything to do with appetite. Yeah.
Okay. SDA belief that humans do not possess a spirit puts a lot of pressure on them and us in the past to perfect their bodies and brains. An Adventist physician writes, the brain's highest function, however, is to be the dwelling place through his spirit of Jesus himself. Within the highest center of the brain is a mysterious place in which Christ desires to dwell. Although it cannot be pinpointed anatomically, it is a physical place where he stands and knocks, waiting for us to invite him in. Okay, yeah.
Wow.
And the current SDA General Conference President Ted Wilson stated in 2014 that as a lifelong vegetarian, his frontal lobes and the delicate nerve endings can receive the impressions of the Holy Spirit in a wonderful way. I didn't make it. Ellen White says in the testimonies, the brain nerves which communicate with the entire system are the only medium through which heaven can communicate to man and affect his inmost life.
How many of you believe that as an Adventist? That you had to be healthy, you had to keep your brain healthy, because your brain was where the Holy Spirit talked to you? Mary did. Anybody else? What kind of Adventist were you? Did you, Carl?
They were bad ones.
Richard, did you believe that? Oh, I'm sorry, you're not listening. Richard's not listening.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, it's just, it's horrifying to me now, but I did believe that.
So therefore, that kind of goes along with people that have brain damage or certain kinds of handicaps that Ellen says
They can't understand the gospel.
they can't, no.
And we understood that they would be as if they never were when they died.
Yeah. I know I can speak for many of us as we were getting used to the idea that the Bible teaches that we have a spirit, not just breath, as we were taught. That Romans 8:16 became very significant to us. The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. It's a hard one to get around. Why were we vegetarians and vegans? Why, when I went to PUC, was there no pepper on the tables in the cafeteria? Why is there no pepper in the student cafeteria at Loma Linda to this day? Why were pickles and ketchup bad to eat? Do you guys know why?
I think she got it.
Yes.
Animal passions.
Yeah. There's not, are there, oh, there's one kid in here. I don't know what.
It's okay, it's okay.
Ellen taught that by eating meat, we would kind of absorb the animalistic nature of the animal, and that our animal passions would become aroused, that our baser passions would become excited. And I think I'm preaching to the choir, but that's what the Victorians called the sex drive.
And all stimulants, such as the pepper and the ketchup and the vinegar, would also stimulate those animal passions.
She said meat should never be placed before our children because it would excite their lower passions and deaden their moral powers. This was commonly believed in Victorian times. Sorry.
No, keep going, it's true. It's just kind of embarrassing now, isn't it?
This same theme of eating animals causing us to take on an animalistic nature runs through pagan, New Age, Hindu, Buddhist teaching. And I think if you guys pay attention to magazines in certain health stores and our culture, that is becoming very prevalent,
Yeah.
very prevalent.
The vegan movement is not just an Adventist thing.
No. Okay. There's a man named Mark Rollison, and then Carlos Santana, who the musician, were both students of a famous Hindu guru. And two quotes from them. As we consume meat, meat carries the aggressive nature of the animal, and we're trying to evolve beyond that animal nature. Fruits and vegetables have a more mild quality to them. So vegetarianism helps you have a clearer meditation because the agitation from the meat manifests in agitated thoughts as you try to clear your mind. Carlos said, I don't eat meat because meat brings out negative qualities such as fear, anger, anxiety, aggressiveness, etc. Vegetables peacefully offer themselves
Please pass the broccoli.
to the earth when ripe, thus allowing a sublime and peaceful thought consciousness. Somebody else said, I was instructed that the use of flesh meat has a tendency to animalize the nature. That's Ellen. Again, she says, a diet of flesh meat tends to develop animalism. A development of animalism lessens spirituality, rendering the mind incapable of understanding truth. So I'm comparing New Age Hindu comments with what I found in Ellen. Gabriel Cousins, who's an interesting blend of, he's a yogi, he's a spiritual nutrition expert, and a rabbi. And
Well.
he's very New Age, very New Age. He says, flesh food increases the animal frequency in the body, and it brings into operation more animal-like tendencies such as vibrations of anger, lust, fear, aggressiveness, and murderous impulses. Another author we know says, by the use of flesh meats, the animal nature is strengthened and the spiritual nature weakened. That's Ellen. Again, she says, your family have partaken largely of flesh meats. This must be the testimonies. And the animal propensities have been strengthened while the intellectual have been weakened. We are composed of what we eat. I found so many pagan, New Age, Hindu, Buddhist teachings that are so similar to Ellen White's teachings that you really can't tell them apart. She uses the same words as they do, same phrases. Well, you can read it in the article. Like I said, we can't go through it all, but
This is reminding me of something, I don't remember where I read this, but it was somebody talking about, I think it was John Corson commenting on a passage in Genesis. But he said that New Age Buddhist pagan devotees tend to like vegetarianism and veganism because if they follow that to an extreme, to their, the way they're taught, they actually have a protein deficiency that puts them into a bit of an altered state so that they're more open to their spiritual impressions. So it actually is a deprivation of nutrients that puts them into that meditative state that opens them up to these other influences, and that's exactly what she taught.
yes, yeah.
It's amazing. She had those visions too. Oh, but she did eat oysters.
She did. And duck. All right, just a little side note that was interesting that becomes a big note is a few years ago I was watching a documentary on the occult history of the Third Reich, and they named a woman in that documentary who was an occultist. Now, Hitler was fascinated with the occult, and much of the stuff he did during the time he was in power was based on occult teachers. This woman that caught my attention, her name is Madame Blavatsky.
You can find her picture in the magazine, opposite Ellen White's.
Check her eyes compared to Ellen's. She was an occultist and medium who co-founded something called Theosophy in 1875. She was born 4 years after Ellen White. Theosophy is a blend of Hinduism, Buddhism, and a bunch of other crazy stuff. But the reason she caught my attention is she is somebody that they mentioned in this documentary taught that men and animals made it in ancient times. That's the only other person besides Ellen I'd ever heard teach that.
You all know that. Ellen did teach that, don't you?
Have you heard of
The
that?
amalgamation of man and beast.
Before the
Yeah,
flood.
and these are the two women, you can see them, I'm holding this up for the benefit of the live stream, but if you compare their eyes, it's hard for me to say they look a lot different in terms of the expression in their eyes, for whatever that's worth.
And the first introduction of this Eastern spirituality, paganism, etc., came into the West from Theosophy, which is she was co-founder of.
And a contemporary of Ellen White.
Ellen, she was born 4 years after Ellen White.
Interesting.
Yeah. She believed that she maintains that the core philosophies of Buddhism and Hinduism have remained more pure and less corrupted and distorted than all other religions, and are far closer to the truth.
That was Madame Blavatsky.
Blavatsky.
Wow.
She was an out-and-out occultist. Well, she taught the exact same thing about food that Ellen did, meat.
Causing animal propensities and baser passions and reflecting the character of the animal.
Yes, yes. Let me have a quote, I don't know.
It's interesting to me that the health message has been, termed the right arm of the gospel in Adventism, right? I mean, that's our entering wedge into communities where they don't have Adventism. We hook them in with our health message, our health screenings, our vegetarian cooking schools, and all of this is based upon the teachings of a woman we were told got these visions from God, but when you look at it, her teachings were identical to the teachings of pagans, New Age, and occultists.
Yes,
It's kind of fascinating.
yes.
These are not biblical teachings.
Not only meat, but yogic scriptures teach to avoid coffee, tea, and
Wow.
spices because they arouse animal passions.
Well,
And
wow.
I kept the phrase animal passions is right in their writings.
in the
I didn't
occult
make
ones.
it up
No,
in
I
the
believe you.
occult writings. And I kept seeing these. I'm like, what?
Similarities.
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
Anyway, Hitler was a vegetarian, or at least he became a vegetarian. And we all know that he wasn't very aggressive, was he? What did the German Adventists think of Hitler? I'm
That's
going
a
to
good
read you
question.
something. Those that have read the article know what they said.
Go ahead.
Hitler has his office from the hand of God and who knows himself to be responsible to him. As an anti-alcoholic, non-smoker, and vegetarian, he is closer to our own view of health reform than anybody else.
That
Hitler.
was the Adventist statement.
That was in a 1933 circular that was printed during Hitler's time.
So the conclusion, Cheryl, of your research after coming out of your sepsis is,
Well, there is a theme running through these pagan religions, and there's a whole history of the vegetarianism in the article. But that theme is purifying yourselves by what you eat, and a lot of other practices. I mean,
if you have your Bibles, go to Mark 7.
yes, please.
I can never remember the verse. Aha! Look at verse 15. No, it's 19. I'm going to start with 14 through 19. And he called the people to him again, this is Jesus, and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. There is nothing outside a person that by going into him can defile him, but the things that come out of a person are what defile him." And when he had entered the house and left the people, his disciples asked him about the parable, and he said to them, "Then are you also without understanding? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from outside cannot defile him, since it enters not his heart, but his stomach, and is expelled? Thus he declared all foods clean." That's the message that was missing from the health message. All foods are clean. And purifying ourselves without eating meat, coffee, tea, vinegar, black pepper, or
Ketchup.
ketchup. My husband will speak at length about being deprived of ketchup. That does not make us pure.
This doesn't have so much to do with food, but are you guys all aware of the green cord vision?
Well, this is interesting.
This connects her.
It was a very
It's in-
early vision.
It's an early vision. It's in the book Early Writings that most Adventists have in their libraries. When she had a dream, she had a vision. You guys know that she talked a lot about being sick and worried about her salvation. And so she was worrying about this, and she thought, oh, if I could only see Jesus, he'd, calm me down and make me happy. And in this dream or vision or whatever it was, she was in her bedroom, and a being came in the door and said, "Pick up all your trinkets." I think they used that
I
word.
think it was.
"And come follow me." And he brought her up to a steep, rickety staircase. She had a lot of steep, rickety things in her visions, the paths, and the people fell off. Well, she was going up this rickety staircase, and she does say that people were falling off of it. They got to the top of the staircase, the angel opened the door and took her in, and there was Jesus. Now, her first reaction is interesting. She was afraid. But then he patted her on the head or said something to her, and she relaxed. She did fall down on the floor and apparently had a vision of heaven, I think it was. When she came to, this angel or her guide, she calls it a guide, took her back downstairs, and the angel gave her a green cord. Have you guys not heard this? Okay. Look in Early Writings if you don't believe me. He gave her a green cord to coil up and put on her chest. And he told her anytime she wanted to talk to Jesus, all she had to do was stretch that cord out. Look on the illustration in the article and see where the chakra in Hindu meditation is on the chest and what color it is.
For the heart.
Yeah,
Let's see, what page is that?
it's near the end.
25? Page 25. It's the diagram, it's this colored diagram right here. These are the colors of the chakras, the Hindu chakras, and you notice where the heart chakra is, and what color it is? Green.
It's round too.
Yeah.
So I just kept finding more and more and more, and I ended this article. I kept texting Colleen and saying I'd found something else, but it's getting really long. She said that's okay. And I found a book written in 1874 by an eyewitness to Ellen as she traveled from town to town. Now, this was after the Great Disappointment. And he saw her in several towns, and he watched her in vision, so much so that when she fell over, which she tended to do, he and somebody else caught her twice, he says. This book's online. The man's name is Isaac Welcome. And he says, we remember catching her twice to save her from falling to the floor, upon the floor, remaining a considerable time in the mesmeric state. We saw her at Poland, Portland, Topsham, and Brunswick during the beginning of this career. Each time the author heard her, she would confirm that God had shown her the loss of salvation for those Millerites who admitted they had been wrong about date setting. And she told them she saw that God told her they were depleted, they were blotted out of the book of life. Anyway, the last sentence, he describes her both as a devout young medium and someone that was in a clairvoyant state. I found that at the very end of my writing.
So, the health message has dubious roots in spite of its apparently clean living front. And I think it's especially significant to me coming from the Loma Linda area as I do, because that's the center of the Adventist health message with the medical school, the hospital, and there is a great emphasis on New Age types of healing and phrases. And it comes straight from, it's legitimate in their system because it comes from their prophet who echoes religions that are not Christian.
Right? Has real pagan roots.
And when you understand that the Bible gives us meat to eat, I have to tell you, Mary Stockler will always live in my mind for a comment she made very early in my connection with her. We were talking on the phone one day, and she had been raised vegetarian too, and she was struggling with what to do with eating meat. And I remember her saying to me once on the phone, I finally realized that if God gave us meat to eat, who was I to think I knew better than God? That had never crossed my mind. And I got to thinking about it, it's never left me. And I realized from Genesis 9, after the flood, when God gave all things that move for food, to Jesus saying in Mark 7, he declared all foods clean. You don't have to eat meat, but it is not wrong in any sense. It is not something that will make you sick, cause you to lose your salvation or to be spiritually unaware. It's food. And like my husband said, he was raised to believe it was not food. So it wasn't even an option. And when he says Jesus declared all things clean, he would have said, well, that was all food. Meat wasn't food, but meat is food.
If Jesus ate,
Right.
we know he ate lamb, we know he ate fish.
In a glorified body, by the way.
Yes, after his resurrection, he ate fish. But somebody in Richard's family told him that Jesus ate that stuff because he hadn't received the health message yet. So I didn't say who. Are they going to watch that?
So,
Anyway.
any comments or questions? So are we like ready for dinner where there may be some meat or not? Okay, okay. Thank you.